On a cold morning around the year 1000, long before Columbus, a small wooden ship cut through the Atlantic fog. According to the Icelandic Sagas, later archived on Wikipedia, the ship belonged to Leif Erikson, a Norse explorer who may have been the first European to reach North America. But the story of Vinland is not as simple as the sagas make it seem, because for centuries, historians argued about one question: did the Vikings truly step onto North American soil, or was Vinland just a legend? Today, we're reopening this chapter, and halfway through, we'll circle back to a detail you probably missed, a detail that completely changes how we understand this mystery. Stay with me. The earliest clues come from two medieval texts preserved in Iceland and catalogued in the manuscripts of the Árni Magnússon Institute: the Saga of the Greenlanders and the Saga of Eric the Red. According to these chronicles, Leif Erikson sailed west from Greenland after hearing rumors of a land filled with forests, wild grapes, and fresh rivers, resources the Norse desperately needed. Smithsonian Magazine has described these sagas as half history, half memory, written down centuries after the events but containing surprising geographical accuracy. If the texts are even partly true, then Europe reached the Americas 500 years before Columbus. But for a long time, there was no proof. And that's where the mystery begins. In 1960, two archaeologists, Helga and Anne Stein Ingstad, followed clues from the sagas to the northern tip of Newfoundland. There, at a place now known as Meadows, they unearthed something the world wasn't ready for: remains of Norse-style houses, iron-smelting pits, and handmade nails identical to those found in Viking settlements across Iceland and Greenland. The discovery was later confirmed by Parks Canada and National Geographic, which called the site the first indisputable evidence of European presence in the New World. And suddenly, the sagas didn't look mythical anymore. They looked like eyewitness accounts. Here comes the loop, the moment you'll want to rewind. In 2021, a groundbreaking study published in Nature examined tree rings from the site and found something extraordinary. The wood at Meadows was cut in exactly the year 1021 CE, confirmed through a spike of cosmic radiation recorded in tree ring patterns worldwide. Pause and think about that. We can now prove the Vikings were in North America exactly 1,000 years ago. Not around that time, not possibly. Exactly 1021. If you missed that, go back 20 seconds, because this detail rewrites medieval history. But if the Vikings reached North America with such certainty, why didn't they stay? According to History.com and archaeological excavations, several factors may have driven them away. Hostility from indigenous groups who defended their homeland. Supply problems. Vinland was too far from Greenland to support long-term settlements. Internal conflict among the Norse themselves. Environmental challenges, harsher winters, and unpredictable storms. The sagas even describe violent clashes with the Skrælings, a Norse term for the indigenous peoples they encountered. Researchers caution that these accounts reflect Norse biases, not a neutral record, but they help explain why the settlements remained temporary. And then, Vinland vanished from history for nearly a millennium. Even with hard evidence, we're left with open questions. Were there more Norse settlements farther south? Did the Vikings map the coastline beyond Newfoundland? And how much contact occurred between Vikings and indigenous civilizations? Archaeologists are still searching. Satellite scanning projects backed by NASA researchers suggest there may be another Norse site buried elsewhere in Canada, but confirmation hasn't come yet. Vinland may still be hiding in the soil. This is one of those historical mysteries that refuses to settle down. We're uncovering new evidence each decade, and each discovery feels like one more page of a book we thought was already written. If you want to keep exploring stories like this, forgotten civilizations, unsolved events, and the chapter's history left behind, subscribe and stay with this series. Not to boost numbers, but to join a community that's actually curious, actually paying attention, and actually looking for the truth behind the past. The next episode dives even deeper, and trust me, you won't want to miss it.